respected Prashant ji, respected Sunita ji, and all my fellow travelers on this path of yoga. It is 5 years since that fateful day, and even today, all of us really miss Guruji and Geeta ji. We miss his practice in this corner earlier, in that corner there. We miss his teachings. We miss the sessions we had in the library where we would just be sitting there waiting for him to come and suddenly start impromptu teaching of any aspect of life. But as if you look at the same situation from another perspective, we can all say that we have been very, very fortunate to have been here at that time where we could spend so much time with Guruji, where we could actually be with him for so many years, learn from him. So that's another perspective of the same situation, because as it is said, there are millions who practice yoga, but one can be called a yogi. And I would say there may be millions who can be called yogis, out of them one is a yogi, and that is our Guruji. So, but at the same time, if you look at, even wonder at the immense amount that is given to us, to the world and the generations to come, he has diverged the subject of yoga in such a different perspective. The subject existed. It's not that it didn't exist before him, but he opened it up in such a manner that even the least person with the least amount of intelligence could evolve. So if people started asana for something as trivial as back pain or a neck pain, which appears trivial in the path of yoga, but for that person it's a big thing to how it can go lead to divinity. And with so many of us around, each of us has grasped a little bit what has touched us. So if I have suffered from a problem and it has solved it, you think Guruji is capable of that, and possibly only that. If somebody has experienced something else, we see it from that limited vision, the glasses that we wear. And possibly if that is what we transmit, we will all have a very fragmented understanding of Guruji. So today we have Prashant ji, who will be telling us about understanding Guruji. We have seen him in person, but still he can be an enigma, and I'm sure for the generations it will be an enigma whether there is a person like B.K.S. So I request Prashant ji to please talk to us about understanding Guruji.
Namaskar all of you. Salutations to Guruji. I think I should be giving little account of his life, because most of you, or at least some of you, have joined after 2014. However, I would suggest that you should look into those books, Iyengar and his work and Light of Life, which will give you a good amount of his life, his achievements in worldly perspective, as the world recognized him. So I would suggest that you look into book at some point in time. However, to commence, Guruji was born in 1918 as a sickly child and was suffering from diseases quite fatal during that time. It was an epidemic of influenza after the Second World War, outbreak of Second World War. And it was epidemic of influenza, which was a fatal disease those days. Today it has become trivial disease. No, I have got flu. But it was not the case those days. Then he had several diseases, COVID of diseases. Major one was TB. You can imagine what TB might be, or might have been in those days, 1920s. So he was a very sickly child, obviously physically underdeveloped because disease like TB. So it happened that he met his brother-in-law who was a yoga teacher. You all know his guru, Guruji, our great Guruji, Sri Krishnamacharya. And that's how yoga got commenced in his life. But that was hardly 6 or 8 months that he was with his guru. It so happened that he had to leave and come to Pune in 1938, barely 20 years of age. So he came to Pune to be teaching in Pune, not for learning yoga in Pune, but teaching in Pune. So all his teachings in a way were and then Guruji had to embark upon teachings for his sustenance. At the tender age of 20, when he had come out of the family, staying independently in Pune, he had to naturally embark upon economic activity. And several years passed that way. But his major mission in yoga was to be practicing yoga. Or have been in it, or can imagine. We learn something somewhere and practice that. We learn at some point in time and practice somewhere sometimes. Now, he had to do everything by himself, learning by himself, learning with himself, and then also practice it. So his practice was not like our practice. We put one bracket and say, I practice every day, 20 minutes to half an hour, half an hour to 1 hour to 2 hours to 2.5 hours practice. We had to combine both the things, learning. Now learning also implies so many things. You can't just learn, you have to study, you have to experiment. So just try to imagine how his practice must have been. Usually we people, we practice whatever we are taught. In his case, since it was self-made process, he had to be learning by himself, so he had to be crystal clear as to what is learning, which we are not. What is learning? Then what is studying? So you can put a question in your pursuit of yoga. Are you crystally clear about all these aspects as to what is it that when you say I am learning, how is it and what is it when you say I am studying? We don't need to study at all, but we just go on practicing whatever they start to us. It happens for quite some years. But then he had to also have his part of practice, which was to study whatever was learned. And then study something for something to be learned. Get this clearly. to be studying whatever is learned, and to be learning whatever is studied. It also entails experimentations. So for a wrong looker, he would be practicing. We also heard that he would be practicing 7-8 hours. So this is a general perception that he would be practicing 7-8 hours. But all that was not practice. Because he had to combine, and which others could not see in a classified manner. It was all bracketed as practice. He practices regularly. It was a very kind of very intense practice. He worked very hard during his early days. This is what usually is expression about his life. That he worked very hard. Now this is a model expression, this is a model perception. The way he worked, for most of us, it was working very hard. For model eyes, for model perception. But little thought will tell us that it is not possible to be practicing day after day, day after day, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. You embark upon sometimes as hard work, working very hard, intensely. How long will you do that? That's why something called intensive pursuit is of limited days. 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks. That's what we call as intense. Intensive courses. They are compressed courses, they are short duration courses. If you think of working very hard, maybe we'll work 1 day. Maybe we'll work for 2-3 days. Maybe we'll work for a week or so. Can we be working hard year after year after year after year? Impossible. So it is not right to just designate it and perhaps tag that he worked very hard. If that had been hard for him, it would have been just 2 days practice, 3 days practice, 1 week practice, 3 weeks practice, 1 month practice, 3 months practice. You can't be doing intensive incessantly for such a long duration of time. Anyone sort of common man or his students make this expression, I did work very hard. You people are not working in 1% of my work. For our perception here to say that, for our cognition here to say that I really worked hard, he never said I never worked or I never worked hard. We all heard often that he worked very hard, because then you would understand what he was saying and what he did. But the fact of the matter is that you are not really working hard. You cannot be practicing for so many decades. Hard, intense. So he was highly graced. His energy levels were superhuman. So you might lift up a weight of 50 pounds. That will be too much for a 3-4 year child. It cannot even touch it and move it. They can lift a bag of 50 kilos. The child will not be able to do that. That is too much for a child to be even mobilizing 50 kilos of bag weight. Similarly, it was too much for us. It was not really too much for him. Had it been too much, he would not have done incessantly so long. So his abilities, his capacities, his spirit was really superhuman. That is why actually for him it was not hard work. But for onlookers, it was a hard work. Like what a giant would do. It would be too much for us. If a giant would be lifting a boulder and just hurling, it cannot be lifting it even hardly even half an inch. So for a giant, that is not too much. For us, it is too much. Hanuman carried the mountain. It was too much for us. He carried the mountain for nearly 3,000 miles from north to down Sri Lanka, 3,000 miles. That is too much for him. It was not too much for him. Similarly, at some point in time, we should understand, yes, it was very hard work, very intensive work from our model perception, model kind of vision, but for him it was not. Otherwise, he would not have done incessantly for so many years. So there was race, there was bounty. Now, as a teacher, he could not have said, "Oh, my students, I had a lot of grace. That's what I am doing, what I am doing." It won't enthuse you. It won't enthuse you. So he never said that, but that was the fact. Now we can say, after he is no more, so I'm revealing you. If he had said by himself, the student would not even have been motivated, enthused to be doing it, thinking that I'm not based, why should I make an attempt here? So that's why for us to motivate, he said, I work hard, and if you work hard, you can also get it. This is like convincing children. You convince so many things to children. Now, those are not facts, but you convince the children, and children get to doing it. You can't tell the child the truth about it, something, that mathematics is very, very difficult, child, you make an attempt. So you will say, child, it's not that difficult. The child starts doing it. So they were all children, and that's why he said what had to be said to children. And I say children, it's not biological age, caliber wise. They were all children, and he said what he had to say, and that was perfectly right. But now I can say that was not the fact. Otherwise, he would not have been doing that. He was not only not only that he had grace, not only that he was a blessed person, to be doing what a normal human being cannot do, even if you just take a glance from this end to that end. You can't imagine that you will do this in lifetime. But he did it. Secondly, he was on a high-speed track. His life was on a high-speed track. You can be running fast, you might be gold medalist in Olympics, but we can't compete with cheetah. Is that right? We can't be competing with cheetah. You might be gold medalist in Olympics, gold medalist. Because gold medalists only run for 100 meters. In 3 point some seconds, or maybe 4 seconds and less than 4 seconds, etc. 100 meters. Cheetah's range is much more than that. It's not in 100 meter sprint to be catching a prey. It doesn't wait for the prey to come within 100 meters and then pounce on it. He was on super speed, high speed track. The things rapidly started coming to him. As against all that condition, I can say that we are on super slow tracks. What he could do in matter of years might take 70, 80 years. That means we can't do in lifetime. That is another thing. That he was on really high speed track. He was galloping. We were struggling for something for a couple of weeks and couple of months and couple of years. When it comes to yoga, you are all doing yoga, you know how something is difficult and how long something takes. If you recall your commencement, how long it took you to go get out of the head for Shirshasana? How long it took for you to go for Uddhanurasa and if you have reached Kapotasana or Vishchikasana, how long it took? You know, you can get the idea over the time there, but he was really on high speed track. This is again superhuman aspect. You can't be on such a track. He was on such a track. That is why he accomplished in his whatever those 75, 80 years of pursuing yoga. What 3-4 generations cannot do. So he accomplished during his lifetime what 3-4 generations might take to accomplish. That was another thing to be noted about. Then, when it came to teaching yoga, now usually we think it is ideal condition, the best condition, or highly praised condition. You preach what you practice. If you preach what you practice, it is praised, it is praiseworthy. That was not his case. He did not teach what he practiced. He taught what was to be taught. Because as I said, he was praised, he was on high speed track. He could not be teaching what he practiced. He could be only teaching what can be taught. Now usually what happens to all the so-called yoga teachers in the world, we teach what we know. We try to teach all that we know, and then we think it is generosity that I teach whatever I know. I don't hold back anything. If I hold back anything and I teach, then that's not praiseworthy. I won't be a magnanimous. So we go all out, we make all attempts to teach all that we know. So if any of you are the teachers here, you will accept this condition. Yes, we do that. I know, I will teach. We have picked up this idealism. If you know, you should be teaching. You share your wisdom to the world. And we think that is magnanimity. And we are in big servitude. But he did not get opportunity to be teaching what he knew. So imagine if I can articulate that to you. You bring the multi-doctoral, the PhD English professor who had 3, 4, 5, 6 PhDs in English and ask him to teach in kindergarten English. What will he teach? He will not be able to use all that wisdom he has about English language, English literature, because he has to teach after all kindergarten. And this was an unfortunate condition in his life. That he could not get a suitable student to be teaching that he knew. Because he was already a multi-PhD, and then students coming to him, whether kindergarten students or nursery or such level of education. So he could not be teaching what he practiced. He could be teaching only what you may practice. So this was a quite misfortune in his life. He did not get the opportunity to be sharing that knowledge or wisdom that he had. Because we in front of him were not qualified to be getting it. So we as teachers should mark this, otherwise we go all out while we are teaching to teach all that we know. We want to spell out This is my knowledge, this is my wisdom, and that's what we teach. We could not do that. So in a way, it was double standard, but cannot be blamed for the double standard. He had to practice what he should practice. He had to teach what it should be taught. So we need to understand as students of yoga at some point in time, sooner or later, better sooner than very little later, that what he must have practiced. What was his practice? What was he practicing for 2, 3, 4 hours or 7, 8 hours? Like some of his students might be doing Shirshasana for 45 minutes and 1 hour for their own contentment and collect some matter to be auto psychofunds. I read Shirshasana for 45 minutes, I do regularly 45 minutes, I do 1 hour, I on that day do 1.5 hours, I did 1.5 hours, auto psychofunds. We collect some material to be auto psychofunds. He could not even divulge what he did because we would not have understood. If at all any possibility, he would have misunderstood. That is why many things he could not say. Because we would have, rather than understanding, we would have misunderstood. Some people in the world around him really misunderstood him. Because his neighbors don't think Guruji was living here, having a bungalow behind him stood in front. So you should know where he lived. And people around him, those who saw him. Now what we do in the house is not visible from the road. Because that is generally 80-85 feet from the road, our house. But when he lived, it was not the case. From the road, one could see the house if the door was open. And because he did yoga, he wanted air, so the door would be always open. He won't be closing the door and practicing. So people would be seeing, going in something. So those people described him as a madcap. You see, whenever you see him, he is on the head. And they would have this kind of argument, is the head meant to be standing on it? Because this fellow is all the time standing on the head. Whenever they see that he is standing on the head, he is topsy-turvy. What's wrong with this man? So that's how the world remarked him, because they only saw that he stood on the head. He was in some contortions. Get the right leg from behind, get it to the left side. Get the left arm from behind, get to the right side. Get it over the head. So they saw various contortions. So you can imagine what must be there. Remarks, impressions, expressions. Because today you are aware that there are some yogasanas. It is because of the light of yoga you know that these are yogasanas. Somebody is making Shirshasana, taking a leg from behind, put it on the neck. When they say Shirshasana, those days it was not known. They thought some body contortion, putting knots to body. So they had such kind of hashtags for him. Why? For obvious reasons, cannot be blamed. Well, why was he doing it? Why was he on the head for 45 minutes or maybe 3 times a day or 4 times a day? Many of you do not know he did that. It doesn't mean you should be doing 3 times a day or 4 times a day. He wanted to experiment. For the sake of experiment, he did so many things. You all know that anger system means no wrong is tolerated. Is that right? No wrong is tolerated. Don't think that he was doing everything faultlessly. He deliberately committed faults and mistakes and wrongs because he was experimenting. Now, to be experimenting in yoga, you need to do something wrong. You can't say, I will be perfect and precise and I am going to experiment. It's not possible. In such a laboratory. In other laboratories, yes, you should be faultless. You can't falter. There will be catastrophe in laboratory to make such experimentations. Putting something into something and let me see what happens. So that's a science, physical science, and therefore you can't be doing such things. But one's own embodiment as a laboratory, body, mind, etc., is where you need to experiment by committing mistakes. Even if you know something is wrong, you should know why it is wrong. That was important for him. As to why something is wrong. So he would be trying the wrong on himself and get to know how it is wrong, why it is wrong, how far it is wrong, etc. That was important for him to develop a rationale behind his teaching. Otherwise, those who are really work under him, they have this impression that Guruji never tolerated any mistake. You could be not even doing a microscopic mistake here and there, a cellular mistake here and there, won't be tolerated. That's what the impression of all his students is. But when it came to his own practice, he did that. That's how we have to experiment. That's how this laboratory is. It is not like modern laboratories and in the realm of physical sciences, where you don't have to make mistakes. You should not make mistakes. If you make mistakes, it will be devastating. But this is not such a physical science. Our embodiment is not so physical science. So, like experiments in life, life is such a condition, you can't be like a scientist, having certain precepts, having certain theorems, and therefore you experiment, so you know that experiment won't go wrong, experiment may not be successful, but won't go wrong. But this is, in life, the life conditions are such that you will have to take risk. So he took lots of risks. In order that his students are not at risk when they are under him. So today we must have perception of his teaching and his practices. So that's why sometimes like I embarked upon a theme. We all know what is Iyengar Yoga, we all practice Iyengar Yoga. But we have hardly paid attention to Iyengar's Yoga. As a student, or student of long standing, at some point in time you should be curious about it. It may not be paying us, we may not be able to take what, we may not be able to embrace to it, we may not be able to practice it, but we must know it. If you are long standing student as to what was Iyengar's Yoga. They are not comparable. Iyengar Yoga and Iyengar's Yoga are not comparable. Just one apostrophe S will make such a big difference. What was his practice? How did he derive scheme to be teaching out of his practice? That is a great kind of research as to how he must have done it. So therefore, when you come to Iyengar Yoga, he gave certain framework for Iyengar Yoga to be crystallized, Iyengar Yoga to be conceived. And that's why sooner, maybe like something early, mid-50s, etc., or at least definitely by the time Light on Yoga came, world came to know something as Iyengar Yoga. Because he gave a frame to it, crystallization to that, as to what is Iyengar Yoga. That was the first kind of yoga in the world which got a personal tag. Before that, what the world had just yoga. It is thereafter that later became a business for all setups in yoga that they should have a tag for their own school. And that's how various yogas started coming up. After Iyengar Yoga came so many yogas, Kriya Yoga, Power Yoga, Vinyas Yoga. So many yogas came up. So if you want to get to know about it, go to the website of Yoga Journal. You'll get so many kinds of yogas, which is breeding ground. US is the breeding ground for it. I think it has gone overboard. Euro Yoga. Now in India, you have so many. Even in India. But the first one was this. He did not proclaim it, he did not declare it, the world recognized it. Because there was some peculiarity, speciality, uniqueness about what B.K.S. Iyengar taught. And he crystallized certain things in that Iyengar Yoga kind of brand. Because it had scheme, it got the nomenclature like that, it got the recognition like that. So there are few things of which you should be aware as to what is Iyengar Yoga. Don't just say because you are enrolled in Iyengar Yoga Institute, you are doing Iyengar Yoga. You should know some kind of the idea of Iyengar Yoga. So in Iyengar Yoga, there are certain concepts such as techniques, intricacies of techniques, finer techniques, superfine techniques, enormity of techniques, sometimes I came to know from one of the students of Iyengar Yoga, and he had jotted down. One day he declared, he said, I have what? 1,000 points of Trikonasana. I have collected 1,000 points of Trikonasana. Now, Lighton Yoga mentions about 7-8 techniques if you look into the book. But he made a project. Let me collect it over a period of time, and sometime, maybe in 10 years and 12 years, he comes and declares, I got now 1,000 technical points of Trikonasana. Then the concept of sequencing. It's not that Trikonasana has only one way of doing it, one purpose of doing it, one mode of doing it. It depends upon sequencing order where Trikonasana is done. What precedes it is of great importance. It would be changing as to how Trikonasana would be, depending upon what has preceded it. So you will understand your Trikonasana will be different. If you do after Shirshasana, Trikonasana if you do after all your standing poses. You might commence with Trikonasana, do all your standing poses, and once again go back to Trikonasana. It will be incomparable. You will not be able to compare with the first Trikonasana with the last Trikonasana. Incomparably different. So maybe Trikonasana after your session of forward bend, session of lateral movement, positions, what you call as twistings. Trikonasana after backward bends. So the sequencing became more important with respect to what asana should precede. Then there is another aspect of sequencing for different manifestation, how the Trikonasana should be done. Like there are different conditions, not so well indisposed. How do you do Trikonasana? Well disposed, how do you do Trikonasana? If you are doing Trikonasana after Shirshasana, how it should be done? If you are doing Trikonasana after several Urdhva how it should be done? If you are doing Shirshasana after several forward bends, how it should be done? So it is not a standard, it's not analog technology, which usually is the impression if you read like a yoga. Because there is set technique, you want to Trikonasana, Uchita Parshakonasana, Virabhadrasana 1, 2, 3. So it almost seems to be an analog kind of technology, but that's not right. Then timings in asana. What should be the duration of an asana? What's the range of duration that has to be there in an asana? Say for a particular example, most of you know in remedial yoga, if you have tummy upset or something, Supta Virasana. Now Supta Virasana is not a pill. You just can't do Supta Virasana, lie down and get up. I did Supta Virasana. Like you swallow a pill. You swallow a pill and the pill does a lot of work once it goes inside. Pill, when you swallow, it will do some work once it goes inside. Now, Supta Virasana won't be a pill. I've taken my pill of Supta Virasana, I did it for 5 seconds and 8 seconds, now I'm off it. It won't work like drug which works inside. Once it goes inside, it works. Supta Virasana won't work like that. What is important is that you must stay in Supta Virasana. So, Supta Virasana is not a remedy. Supta Virasana is not remedy on any tummy upset or whatever problem, chest problem, lung problem. You need to be staying there. So what's the duration of a posture such as Supta Virasana? What is the duration of posture such as Trikonasana? Have you ever done Trikonasana as long as you have done your Supta Virasana? So the time span differs. You can't say I will do every pose for 1 minute, Trikonasana 1 minute, Parshakonasana 1 minute, Virabhadrasana 1 minute, Shirshasana 1 minute, Supta Virasana 1 minute, Savanasana 1 minute, Halasana 1 minute, Utthasana 1 minute. Really do. So the concept of duration, the timings for an asana. If any asana has to be done for an effect or with an effect, it's not just technical process how to do it. But how the doing should be during the duration of the time. Now, we will not understand this, we will only understand there is a way to do Supta Virasana. What is it? Sit in Virasana, turn your palms out, turn your thigh muscle out, and then lie down and take a position, lie down, sleep on it. Stretch your arms over the head, stretch your chest, stretch your abdomen. It's not just that. You can't be just stretching the chest and stretching the abdomen. You should be stretching the abdomen several times, stretching the chest several times during your stay. You can't just say, I've stretched it once and it should work. It won't work like that. Because you are going to stay there for 8, 10, 12 minutes, whatever duration. It has to be done. So during that time, you have to negotiate several conditions. So that aspect, combination of duration and technicality. Now usually you will register that you are taught Trikonasana, you are taught how to do Trikonasana. But how to be doing Trikonasana? where you are going to stay for a duration such as half a minute to 45 seconds to 1 minute to more. What you should be doing during that duration is as important as how you will launch an asana, how you will go into an asana. You are not just supposed to be going to an asana and do it. It's not a kriya-like thing that you do, undo. So what is the technicality of your constancy in the position? Something has to be maintained, something must be done. You must be getting penetration. Say minute by minute if you are in Supta Virasana. Your Supta Virasana cannot be identical first minute, second minute, third minute, fourth minute, fifth. It won't be remedy. It won't be remedy. Because you will have to have progression. You must be able to get penetration. You must be able to get access, and you get access. You get access. What will you do if you have more access? So its technicality is an ongoing process from the launch point to the terminal point. It's not just one standard technical with which you are got into it and you are doing it first minute, second minute, third minute, same minute. Because progressively it will be different access. Like you stretch your arm, the access will be different in the second and third minute than the first minute, or fourth and fifth, or seventh and eighth minute than the first minute. So if there is a progression, you must avail of it. And what should I do? If there is a progression, what should I do? And let's suppose there is no progression, there is a plateau, what should I do? Then that too is also gone past. Then you are having regressive period. Should you be there? Should you continue? So that is the implication of timing in asana. If you are supposed to be negotiating a timing in an asana, understand the implications of it. You just can't get onto the head and say, I will timer for 8 minutes and 7 minutes and 10 minutes. Your negotiations will be changing depending upon the access. As long as it is progressive, you need to be progressive in your techniques. When you come to a plateau, you should know what to do with it, in it. And when you get regressive track, that it is regressing, how long should you be doing it? Should you do it? If you do it, how long should you do it? If you are doing, how should you do it? What's the difference then? Because now the things are losing reinforcement. So there is enormous wisdom behind imparting Iyengar Yoga and the intricacies of Iyengar Yoga. Now, although that was not material for him, yet he did it for his students. Because his practice was meant for this yoga, Iyengar Yoga. So he practiced Iyengar Yoga. And by practicing, he never practiced Iyengar Yoga. Get to know this. Not even once. Did he ever practice Iyengar Yoga? No, he never practiced Iyengar Yoga that we all know. That was not his yoga practice. It was all the time in Iyengar's yoga. Now, will you blame him for the reason that he never practiced yoga like he preached in light on yoga, like he depicted in light on yoga, like he showed in light on yoga, like he taught in his classes? He never practiced what he taught. He never taught what he practiced. But out of his practice, he developed what to teach and how to teach, how much to teach, when to teach, who to teach. Now all of you know chair sarvangasana. He devised the chair sarvangasana. But let me tell you the fact. In his lifetime, he never ever did chair Sarvangasana even for 2 minutes. Just to take a trial, not even for a minute. He devised it. He made others do it. He never ever did chair Sarvangasana on his own. Those who saw him past 90 practicing, did he ever ask for chair? Give me chair, I want to do Sarvangasana. He was 94, 95. Never. Now, should you blame? Because what we like in the world, preach what you practice. Practice what you preach. Is that right? He never did chair Sarvangasana. However, he advocated Sarvangasana. It was a great bounty to his students to be doing chair Sarvangasana. But he never tasted it even once. He would just imagine what it could be. That was enough for him. His imagination was so strong that he could just imagine as what it could be. He never did it. But he devised it. Based on what he did in Iyengar's yoga, all that his teachings were evolved out of Iyengar's yoga. However, you cannot relate Iyengar yoga with Iyengar's yoga. It came out of it. Because his goal in his practice was totally different. He never practiced to be teaching better. But most of the teachers do this. They want to be practicing to be teaching it. Even I did it in the beginning. Suppose I had to teach Trikonasana, I said the points are not flowing. So I would do myself Trikonasana and just see what I do and I would be instructing. I rotate my waist, I would say rotate the waist. I take shoulder blade in and then instruct shoulder blade in. So when you are actually doing it, then certain points come to your surface and that's how it can be let out through your mouth. That's why many people are in the habit of that. And initially it happens. You must be, while you are teaching, you must do yourself. Then the points will occur. It comes what do you do with your mounts, wrist mounts, etc. What do you do here and there? What do you do with carpal, metacarpals? And then you can be teaching all that and your students will, oh, what a wonderful teacher. He spoke about the mount of the moon and etc. Wrist mount, etc. His teachings, all that Iyengar yoga, so-called Iyengar yoga, was drawn out from Iyengar's yoga. He had great amount of imagination as to how people will do this. Now, if anyone recalls, Hanuman Asana when he was teaching. So, sometimes he told us have a blanket for the front foot, have a blanket for the back foot metatarsal. So blanket will help you slide your legs. He never did it. As to how you would get it, he had his imagination. He did not try, let me try, does it come, and then let it out, express it, and teach it. He did not go for such trials because he was trying on very higher planes. His trials and experimentations are on higher planes. He had immense imagination that by this way students will get it easier. By this way students will get it without danger. He did not try that, let me see whether it's really there is no danger in doing that. It was all his intuition. So many of the things that he taught, he never tried. He did not have to try. So that's how the Iyengar yoga was drawn out of Iyengar's yoga. So we as students of yoga at some point in time we need to have little deliberation as to what must be Iyengar yoga. Now we cannot be doing it. There is no way that by doing Iyengar yoga will be able Iyengar's yoga will be able to attain all this. However, we should be knowing it as to what must be his approach, what must be his thought process than what he did. We have to imagine. We'll have to imagine. To be imagining, we'll have to have a kind of, it's not just fanciful imagination. We have to have a thought process, and imagination out of thought process is so important for long-standing students of yoga. As I said, he had high-speed track. No, we don't have a high-speed track. Therefore, we will not be able to emulate. We need not be emulating, we should not be emulating. Then we will realize about how he got all these things, in what way he got all those things, whatever he got in his lifetime. No doubt the whole world has acclaimed him. During his lifetime also he got all that. But he got the worldwide acclaim for a thing which was not so important, because the important things were veiled for the world. So in case of Guruji, I will have to say that he was not only a celebrity in the world, he was not only world famous, because usually what happens, this is fact of the life and our worldly condition. Those who are very great people are not necessarily well-known people. They are not necessarily well-known famous people. All famous people are not necessarily great people. We make confusion between that. The great awards, recognitions come to well-known, famous people. Rarely they go to great people. Very rarely such awards go to great people. And that's why when the person gets the award, the whole world starts knowing, oh, there is a person of this name. But usually well-known people get awards. So what? You should be first well-known. And very, very rare cases, great people do get awarded, but after they get awarded, we start knowing their names. We will not have heard their name before they got awards. Point is, there is a difference between great people and famous people. Great people and celebrities. Great people and well-known people. He was both. Well-known for what reason? That was not the reason why he was great. Another set of reasons for him to be great. That was not the reason why he became well-known. Are you getting it? He did not become world renowned for his greatness. He did not become famous for what he was really great in yoga. He was great for the world, and therefore he became world famous. So to be great for the world and to be great for the subject are two different things. To be great in yoga is one thing, for which he did not get this acclaim global. He was great for the world, therefore he got all acclaims. So what the world got was the so-called Iyengar yoga. But he was great for Iyengar's yoga. So for us to be knowing what his yoga was, we need to be students of yoga at some point in time, better sooner than later. We do not have assessments about him unless I became student of yoga. When I became student of yoga, whatever idea I got as to what yoga is, then I realized how he was great. Not because of what he did in the world, what he gave for the world, what he displayed in the world, what he expressed in the world. He was not great for that reason. He was great for subject of yoga itself, his contribution to yoga. So these are two different things, contribution to yoga and contribution to the world. The world was drawn to him because he was important in the world, he did for the world. Yes, that's aspect of human pursuit of the life, pursuit in life, that you must be useful to the world. You must do something for the world. So he accomplished there also. He reached that acumen point whereby he became world renowned, world well known. So he did what is called a social commitment. Like you have in this corporate world, every public limited company should be doing something for the social upliftment, social. They have to make some allocation part of their income so that get some exemption from taxation, etc. What is it called?
CSR.
CSR. They are social responsibility, corporate social responsibility. So, being in the world, we have some social responsibility. We must be doing something for society. And social reformers merely do that. But yoga is developing oneself personally in personal aspects. So there also he was equally well equipped to be pursuing yoga for himself, pursuing yoga for the sake of yoga. So he excelled there too. Now this is not an ordinary thing. So he excelled in yoga, which was contribution to yoga, and he also made contribution for the world. So he also did something as CSR, and the CSR gave him more recognition. He did not get recognition for what he did in himself, for himself, his own pursuit of yoga, which otherwise for the world, eyes of the world, it's all selfishness. One is working for oneself. One is working for one's own involvement. So if you are a student of yoga, you will know that that's not the case. Although one might be seeming to be self-centric, working on oneself, working with oneself, on oneself, for oneself, by oneself, etc., etc. It might be getting dubbed as self-centricity. It is not true, because yoga will tell you what you have around you, outside you, is world. What inside you have is universe. What outside you have is only world. So you can be a global personality. Still, we are not in the era that somebody is recognized to be interplanetary celebrity. Yet the time has not come. Is that right? We are some global celebrity, somebody is globally well known. But we do not have something like interplanetary celebrity, intergalactic celebrity. At the most, we can be international citizens, global citizens. We can be global citizens. That is what valuable for the whole globe. What is this globe? It is just a speck in the expanse of universe. It's just a speck of dust in the expanse of universe. universe. But what you have inside is universe. Precisely from the point of view of modern astrophysics, astronomy, multi-universe, multiverse. It's not just one verse. That's why we have the concept in our religious consciousness. Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka. Ananta Koti Brahmanda. Astronomy, astrophysics only speaks of one Brahmanda. There is one universe. There are many galaxies, but one universe. So one universe contains many galaxies. Many galaxies contain so many systems. Starry systems. And solar systems like systems. But Anandakoti Brahmanda Nayaka is him. Anandakoti Brahmanda. Multi-billion, multi-million universes. What we have is that. Because Anandakoti Brahmanda Nayaka is our indweller. So within yourself, if you go, your journeys will be on astronomical scale. If you are just a global citizen, imagine what would be your journey. Even if you go around the world 1,000 times, it won't be one light year, you know that? Even if you go 1,000 times around the globe, you journey every nook and corner of the planet 1,000 times, yet you will not be reaching that distance, which is one light year. It's a poetry. There is no scope for you to have multi-million light year journeys on the planet during lifetime. But if you go inside, it all opens out for you. So what must be yoga for me? So when I got to know a little bit about the mysticism of yoga as to what essential yoga is, then what he must be doing while he does his yoga could I only be imagined by me. And only because of little touch of wisdom of yoga, whatever microscopic touch, I imagine what himself on himself. And that did not make him great at all, because that was done within himself. So that greatness would be, he only got it on celestial plane. The gods realized how great he was. The world realized how great he was. It was not the same reason for gods to realize why he was great. Because what he did within himself was more worthy for gods. For the world, it was not important what he did within himself. For you and me, it was more important what he did outside. So, he was great as well as well known, because he did this wonderful negotiation. He considered as CSR, his responsibility towards social setup. But within himself, he came to know that there is a universe within. It's not just society. The CSR will not be contemplating on doing something for life on Mars, some life in Jupiter, on Jupiter, or another solar system, another galactic system. CSR is only limited to what? The 1.3 billion people in India. The globe itself has a population of something like 7.5 billion. But there is no CSR to do something for planets, something on Moon and Mars and Jupiter and Saturn and something for another solar system. The social life is only here. Social commitment is for very limited. See the diameter, radius of the social responsibilities. Within your oneself, there is universal radius, limitless, unlimited, infinite. And in yoga, you can be doing something within the universe, contribute for the universe. We will not be able to contribute for the universe here because after all, Earth is just a speck of dust. And we are there in some small country, even a nation is not a big thing on planet. 30% of land mass. In 30% of land mass, there is somewhere India, and in India there is somewhere Maharashtra, in Maharashtra there is somewhere Pune, in Pune there is somewhere model quality. Insignificant. Insignificant. But once you go inside, you have universal dimensions. What is really within yoga? You will only realize, you will be able to have some idea about it if you start getting to know yoga. So, I can say that if you want to know really what Iyengar was, you will have to know yoga. There is no way to know Iyengar by going to his biographical accounts, or by hearing people speak about him. You can hear from his family members, his children, etc., his students, etc., students of long time, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. They can be telling you about what Iyengar was. That will not really give you much clue about what he was, unless you get to know yoga. So if you are inclined to know Iyengar, Guruji, B.K.S. Iyengar, if you are inclined to know, it is of utmost importance that you start getting to know yoga. There is no other way to know yoga. You can't go to Google search. You will not get on Google search as to what Iyengar was. That is not what they collect. They have their data. But don't go to Wikipedia to know about that. There is no other way but to be students of yoga, get to know yoga. Then we will know how. What was his work in life, being on a planet during our times. I think that should be enough. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, sir, for opening up the doors to Iyengar's yoga. We know it is a journey not of one lifetime, but many lives to come. But at least you have opened the doors, and maybe our eyes will also open to be in sync. We have a release of a CD, Sons of Belur, made by Ram Bodar. So, sir, I would like you to release this CD.
Let him speak about it.
Ram? Where is Ram? Please speak about the CD.
Give me mic, he can speak from there.
Good evening, everyone. This film is about.
Here is the launch. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
This film is about work in Belur. I think this film actually we shot in 1 year, but without my knowledge, I've been collecting some data and few clips for the last 4 years, which I would never knew that I'm going to make any such film. I would say it's a grace that it just happened. And it's about Belur, the village where Guruji was born, and what has turned up after he adopted the village in 2005. It's all about, there are stories about, many people, only Iyengar family would know, and I hope you all will enjoy it.
Thank you, Ram, for that CD, and it is available downstairs. Also, another announcement, Prashant talked about two kinds of greatness. One, the world that New Guruji is great, a part of his CSR activity, and the other, the greatness with the God's view. For the CSR activity, for which most people appreciate him, there has been a compilation, Beloved Guruji, which is stories, memories, tributes by the family members, Geetaji, Prashantji, the grandchildren, their daughter-in-laws, and also many students, those who had spent a lot of time with Guruji and those who had never met Guruji. So the book is available downstairs, you can buy it. And we will be ending this program with a recitation of the shlokas of Guruji, which is here on both the sides, to be recited by Diksha. You can follow her.
And handouts also will be given to you, so you will have it with you, which contains the shlokas, the transcription and the meaning. Are you Kunal? Thanks, Alvika. You can take it on your way out. You don't have it now. Start.
ॐ वैज्ञानिकः शिक्षकत्वे
वैज्ञानिकशिक्षकत्वे
कलाकार आसनेषु यः
कलाकार आसनेषु यः
योगाभ्यासे च तत्त्वज्ञः
योगाभ्यासे च तत्त्वज्ञः
तं वन्दे सुन्दरं गुरुम्
तं वन्दे सुन्दरं गुरुम्
योगवृक्षो लोकेऽस्मिन्
योगवृक्षो लोकेऽस्मिन्
वर्धितो यस्य
प्रेरणया
योगाचार्याय गुरवे सुन्दराय नमो नमः
सुन्दराय नमो नमः
end of today's program. I request to give space so that the family members can leave, Prashant ji can leave, and then after a good introduction we can also leave. So before we totally vacate the hall, the mats have to go back and the props which are outside need to be.